I didn't really care that much about what I was saying because in my head, everything had a logical explanation. Jason, however, widened his gaze. Yeah, that could have been her. Stop. I'm serious. And what does she want from us? Does she want to eat me? We were now in his bedroom, and I had tucked him into bed. I had my back to the window, facing the hallway, which had now become way creepier than expected. She doesn't want to eat you. That's so great. I taste horrible. Good night. I tried to stand up and leave, but he grabbed me. Wait, don't go. Look at me. What, now? I want to tell you about this dream I had, this dream that woke me up, but you have to pay attention. Okay, so, in my dream, I was in the garden and I was thirsty, and you were there too, and you tried to leave, but there were a lot of bushes around and you got lost. And I found this puppet. I hate it when people tell me about their dreams, but I sat there, listening, facing Jason with my back to the window. Not because his story was interesting, not because I liked being there, because while he held me there, his eyes kept darting to the window, and I'd seen the shadow cover his face, because he'd insisted I looked at him, but in reality he didn't want me to turn around. So I listened, until he abruptly finished his story when moonlight reached his face again. Thank you for the story, it was really interesting. You're welcome. Good night. Night. I spent the next hour in the other bedroom, fidgeting with the little porcelain horse. This kid was a lot braver than I thought. In the silence, I kept trying to make out distinct, unfamiliar sounds, but didn't succeed. The house had fallen asleep, and the night had become uneventful. His parents arrived soon after that. I put the horse in my pocket and went downstairs to greet them. Was he good, Keith? Yeah, the best, don't worry. I studied both of them, head to toe, their clothes, mannerisms, facial expressions, but mostly the mom. Were you good? Asked the dad jokingly. I hope so, I responded. They wanted to drive me home, but I insisted on taking my bike. I closed the door behind me, but instead of leaving, I headed to the backyard. I just wanted to see something. Climbing on the fence, I made it on the roof of the porch, right next to the bedroom window, hoping to see some signs of something, anything. The window was covered in scratches, but nothing gave out what had been there. I stood there for a while. I don't know why. The parents had gone to sleep, and Jason was probably asleep in his room too. I studied the garden from that angle, then the woods, as quiet as a mouse, then the room where the parents were sleeping. After that, I don't remember how I got home. I don't even think I took my bike, just ran frantically until my legs bled. I didn't even scream. I didn't look around or stop. Just ran until I reached my house and banged on the door. My mother answered, annoyed, and I ran past her, right to my bedroom. Covered myself in my blanket and started typing this. Because while I was watching the parents sleep, something had caught my eye. In the hallway, what I had thought to be a coat and hanger moved all of a sudden. It had been standing there so still I hadn't even bothered to notice it, until it disappeared out of my range, then appeared again. This bony, twisted silhouette dragged itself into the bedroom and stood right next to the mother, who was sleeping. It looked uncanny, like a human who'd starved to death, with wide eyes and arms so long they trailed behind it when it walked. It just stood there watching the parents, then lifted a bony finger and started counting. I stood there frozen, watching this horrifying show, forever scarred in my head. It kept counting and counting and counting. I was so scared to move that I would have watched it forever. It wasn't until something else happened that made me break into this exhausting run. It saw me. Guys, this was the finale. It took a whole lot of effort to make it, so subscribe.